And we are live! It's alive!
Oh, no.
Welcome. And for the players, you will notice, and Blue Jay, you'll probably notice too, the brand new overlay that I created. Tazaboo, what's up? So we've redone the overlay to make it look a little different. It's much the same, but things are a little bigger, a little bit easier to read. Hopefully I got all the characters' stats correct. So players, check your stats, make sure that I haven't buggered anything up. But yeah, as you guys can see now, the chat is on the overlay as well. As people chat, it'll just show these as something, as a space filler more than anything else. But potentially, now this is the potentially comes in next campaign. When and if we get there, we could potentially throw in a 6th player. So pretty much designed it that way, Justin, because I've had a couple of other people that have expressed a possible interest in joining us, even from a guest player perspective. So what I can actually do is create a second overlay which has basically a guest player stat block, which would be kind of cool. So, I don't think we have any other announcements. We've got a new battle map overlay as well. Might see that sometime tonight. Maybe. We'll see how we go. But apart from that, I don't think we have any other announcements. Apart from, if you do want to sub, guys, don't be afraid to sub. If you got Twitch Prime, you can sub for free. It's part of your Twitch Prime subscription. Gives you a free sub every month to a streamer of your choice. So don't forget, you can do that. You can obviously, exclamation point tip, you can donate if you wish, help keep this thing going as much as we can. Unfortunately, it does cost. I don't like asking for money, but sometimes need a little bit to keep things going. So if you are able to, and even if it's just 50 cents or $1, every little bit helps and will help keep us running and will help get us lead us into the next campaign as well. Right, I think that is it for us. So, without further... YouTube, exclamation point YT in the chat. Go check out the latest clips video. Was posted a couple of days ago. An amazing clip from last Sunday's game. Very first clip in the top clips for the video. Het going absolutely Burko over the compass. So definitely go check that out. There's YT. Yep, exclamation point YT. That bloody compass, I know, but the clip was perfect. It was such an awesome clip. We chucked it in right at the start of the video. Then I got a whole bunch of top moments from the Call of Duty gameplay from last week. So go check it out. Chuck a like on it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss it when we do upload more videos, because I'm going to try and get a video up every week. Obviously the VODs will go up every week, but then we're going to try and do a clips video every week as well. So definitely check that out. We're only 20 subs away from getting our custom URL for YouTube as well. So 20 more subscribers and we can, instead of a long string of numbers and letters, we can actually have youtube.com/Evldoa. So the more subs we get, the better for that. So if you haven't subbed, please do go check it out. There's the link. Thank you, Robbie. Make sure you like and share the videos. Chuck a comment up there if you want to. And definitely subscribe. So, without any further adieu. Adieu
to you and you.
We are going to recap episode 24 of Paradym Bowl. So, the Lions of Valonde, you find yourselves on the outskirts of Valonde after transport via plants, which provided by Fiela's benefactor Begilia, transported you back to the city surrounds. You then decided to head right for the Arcanist to see Thorfi. You reach the Arcanist to find it all locked up, and while discussing ways to break into the Mage's stronghold, a local patrol approaches. Het approaches them and speaks to the guard and attempts to intimidate them into allowing them access to the Arcanist. Het's threats had the guard on alert. Quick thinking from Alessandros, however, had the guard put at ease, and a message was sent to Breton that you needed to speak to Thorfi as soon as possible.
You're welcome.
You then return to the guild hall. Once there, you all sit around, eat and drink, and prepare for the evening's sleep. While discussing what to do next, the group decide that Alessandros is a liability and has to be turned in for her potential crimes. And with the aid of Fiela's shapeshifting, restrained her in a blanket of webbing, which restrained her to the bed. Het then retreats to his deity's temple to try and make sense of things, and is led to make a deal with a seemingly darker entity. During the evening's watch, Sadiq finds a note passed under the door that he then passes on to Het, and in turn they passes on to Fiela during their respective watches. Fiela then confronts Ellie about it and is told of the deal and contract that Ellie has been tasked to do. Upon agreeing to a life debt, Fiela releases Ellie during the night. Fiela proceeds to shapeshift once more into that pesky badger, leaving inky footprints all over Het and around the room. In the morning, you are all reconvene in the main hall. Questions are asked as to why Ellie is free, answered to reasonable satisfaction. You then get a message from Thorfi that he will see you ASAP. As you approach the Arcanist, Sadiq notices some shadowy figures attempting an ambush as the sky clouds in and darkens. You then enter into a battle as a vampire and a couple of twisted creatures attack. Cass sends his regards, was the message spit from the vampire's foul mouth. The battle ensued for some time, and an ally appears and aids the group in dispatching the foul creatures. Sadiq decimates the lead vampire with a huge critical attack, and you make short work of the spawn with the aid of this strange ranger as well as a few city guard. In the aftermath, the ranger introduces herself as Inari, an emissary from the Emerald Enclave, sent to aid you in your effort to stop the forces of darkness. Sadiq, speaking abruptly, turns and heads into the Arcanist to have his meeting with Thorfi. Het, mistrusting, also follows, as does Fiela. Knowing the Enclave is more receptive. God, my grammar is terrible. Fiela, knowing the Enclave is more receptive to the ally, and generally greets her with some friendliness. After a short back and forth, you all enter the Arcanus to speak to the head mage. And this is where we pick up episode 25 of Paradym Bold, Destiny or Fate. So, you guys, Sadiq, you're the first to enter, followed shortly by, English bad, not easy. Het, you follow abruptly after Sadiq, and then a short time later, Alessandros also joins, then Fiela and Inari follow up. You are greeted, well, not really greeted, you walk into the room main hall there, and Thorfi's the only one there. There is no one else there that you can see. You can't hear anybody else. It is very quiet, and Thorfi is standing in the middle of the guild hall. A look of concern and sort of curiosity as to why you had to send a message in the middle of the night to want to see him.
I'm gonna walk up to Thorfi, like nearly in his face, and say, "You son of a bitch! Did you know about Naemaris?"
Thorfi sort of doesn't flinch at all. Looks down on you slightly because he is a little bit taller than you, and sort of cocks his head to one side. He's got his hands sort of poised in front of him. Cocks his head to one side and gives you the most a really confused look, and sort of says to you, "What do you mean? Did I know what what's happened to Naemaris? Is she not with you?
No, she joined the other side.
You damn well know too. Tell him what you know, Thorfi.
He ignores Het and speaks again to you, Sadek, and says, Join the other side. You mean she's joined Cass?
Yes,
what are you talking
Lord
about?
of Hell. Well, she went, and the Lord of Hell showed up at the meeting, and he took Naemaris away.
You saying Asmodeus was on the prime material plane?
Yes.
And he sort of
Right.
he takes half a step back and almost collapses, like he sort of steadies himself, like his knees gave out under him, and then he takes a seat and he puts his hands in his face in his hands for a few seconds and sort of says, "No, it can't be true. He can't cross over. There's rules."
He can appear for a short time only.
Rules can be broken, Thorfi.
Yes and no. That things have gotten worse than we anticipated, and you can see he's visibly flustered. He's not. He is upset. Like he's trying to not show too much emotion, but you can see he's visibly upset at the news that Naemaris has joined, or possibly betrayed the humanity in that way. But also too, he's still trying to get his head around the fact that Asmodeus, the King of Hell, was able to breach the veil between the Hells and the Prime Material Plane and actually physically be there in front of you guys. It's something that should not have been possible.
You must know, Thorfi. Why would Naemaris turn? Where does she come from?
Well, as Het, I don't believe she has turned. She is Kalistar, so she does have... There's almost a prophecy about her as well. Some slightly different. She bore a mark, a birthmark, which her parents and her clan, her race, are deathly afraid of, which they called the Dark Dreaming, where a warrior spirit, a darker warrior spirit, attaches itself to her mind, essentially. But that spirit should never have been able to take over without help. The only way it could have happened is influence from another source. And if Asmodeus was able to cross the veil, then it is almost certain that Asmodeus has taken control of the warrior spirit and has in turn taken control of Naemaris' body.
Does he think he's on the level?
Insight check.
That's a 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. I will message you. I've just chucked your DM hit.
Sweet.
So yeah, and as you guys can see, he's visibly upset. He's trying to wrap his head around this whole situation and the potential and even the consequence of possibly may come from this. There's obviously you can see on his face there's just hundreds of things running around his head right now.
She said to him, "I am ready," and joined his side. You don't know any other clues you can give us as to further this?
Well, no. Anari, I've just sent you a message as well. I'm not sure. He's just stammering. You guys have never seen Thorfi in this state before. You see a tear break from the corner of one of his eyes, roll down his cheek, and he sort of wipes it away abruptly and sort of tries to compose himself. And he's just stammering. He's just not himself.
I step forward and look at the group. I think we need to go and speak to the leader of the city, Coram Mordan. He should be able to tell us a way that we can help.
And as you say that in front of everyone, Thorfi sort of composes himself a little bit and says, yes. And you are? I feel I know you. Have we met?
Yes, Thorfi, we have many moons ago. I'm Inari from the Emerald Enclave.
The Enclave? The Enclave is involved?
Yes, they
Okay,
are.
this is not good. If the Enclave's involved, then things are definitely more serious. But yes, you're right. You need to speak to Coram. He will have information that will be vital to you and your group for the coming battles and potentially saving Naemaris if she can be saved. I'm not even sure if she can. I mean, if it's a spell, it could possibly be broken. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Thorfi, what can you tell us about the Enclave?
The Emerald Enclave. Well, they've been around as long as humanity's been around. They are protectors of nature, the natural balance of things. And if they have now made themselves known and to be involved in this, then the balance has shifted, and it's shifted so far that they need to now visibly be involved. Normally, you don't really hear about them being involved in things like this until it reaches a specific point. Inari, so the Enclave has tasked you to aid the Lions in recovering items, artifacts, things that you may use. I don't understand. Is it what is your task? What
They've sent me to assist the Lions in tracking Kosis and keeping the undead in check, as there's been quite a shift in the balance as of late.
Of course. Well, I'm as shocked as you are to learn of Naemaris' fate. I honestly cannot tell you whether it is because of her inner being or because she may have been weakened because of the almost split personality, if you will. This quarry spirit, it's called, is part of her. They're bound at birth, and I believe the name of her quarry spirit, was Ashana. She has spoke of it a couple of times. So whether if Ashana has come to the surface, then you face not just the might and the strength of Naemaris in her physical form, but you now face a very intelligent and very powerful and very dark entity. You definitely need to speak to Coram. Most certainly, he will offer some insight into what has happened, and I'm sure he would need to know exactly what's going on. Now this has become bigger than all of us. It's time to start assembling armies, and with the council being no more, it falls to him.
Who is this Corum exactly? What does he look like? Where do we find him?
You will find Corum in virtually the center of town. He is.
He's the fountain.
He is the Lord of Valonde. He was elected Lord Keeper of Valonde many years ago. He is an elf, a full elf, blood elf, as same as me. He's almost as old as I am. So he's been here for quite some time. So you can't really miss him. I mean, you go to where the barracks are, and in the same area, his personal guard will be wearing silverish armor trimmed with a deep red and dark red cloaks trimmed in black. You cannot miss them.
I guess we better go talk to him.
Before we go, any chance of getting some healing, please?
Oh, I'm not a cleric. No one else is here. I mean, you can visit any temple to see a cleric for healing, I'm sure.
I can give you some healing.
So Hart's Village is where you're going to meet Corum.
I'm going to look around at everybody and say, do you mind if I...
Sure, walk 10 paces in front of us.
I can do that. I know where I'm going.
With your hands in the air.
I give Het a look.
Hey, look,
I
what
am not
kind of
here
look?
to fight. A disdainful look. I'm not here to fight. Not fight with you, anyway.
Well, fighting's probably what's going to end up happening, so you might get prepared.
Corum, not Corum, Het. Thorfi interjects, Het, I understand your reluctance, but she is here to aid you. She is on your side. I understand all of you have lost a friend and an ally with Naemaris, with what has happened. But do not let that heed your trust in others that are only willing to aid you in your journey. I will do what I can to find any more information about what has potentially happened and how to stop it or change it. And he sort of sits back down and puts his hand back in his face back in his hand, and sort of just
Het
lets
pulls
out
his salute up and aims it at Thorfi, and he says, "Heaven can wait." And he swings the loot round and fires healing at Alessandro.
And how many HP?
He will get, she will get, he will, Shim will get
They will get.
They
10
all
points
do.
of healing.
Do you get 10 HP, Alessandros?
I was just about to give her a healing potion, so that's okay.
So
Oh,
how do I fix this negative HP shit?
You have to rest. Your maximum HP is still reduced until you finish a long rest.
I thought a healing pot will counteract that.
Nope. Not this particular effect.
Okay. I'm going to also ask Thorfi about the Black Fang. What's he know about?
The Black Fang. They're
Mm-hmm.
thieves and assassins. All of them. The council used the Fang. Pretty much everyone uses the Fang if they want something done. The council used the Fang to hunt down and eradicate the dragons that fled during the Dragon Wars. Whether they succeeded or not, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously we know Kosas is still around and potentially Yildri's still around, but we're not sure of any other dragons that may have survived. But all I know of the Fang themselves is they are all cutthroats and are generally not to be trusted. I mean, unless you're paying them, of course. I mean, if you're paying coin, they will always complete the job given.
So I'm going to look over at Alessandros and go, thank you for that information.
Anything else that I can do, just let me know. You need teleportation anywhere. It is done.
Ooh, speaking of that, is there some way that you can make like a one-off scroll that we can use a teleport? Because when we were trying to get back, we almost got stuck.
Yes,
Luckily,
yes, I can make that. It'll take me a couple of days, but definitely, I can probably make a couple. Give me 2 days, and I'll see what I can do. Come back and see me.
that would be good. Thank you.
Anything to help. If it means you could potentially retrieve Naemaris and bring her home, then I'll do what I can.
Basically, all I'd be looking at is the scroll to take us back to Valonde from wherever we are. So we'll activate that portal.
Yeah, he'd get that idea just from what you said. He sort of understands that Valonde's the central teleportation hub, as it is, so it's easy to bring you back to the main center where there's a reasonable military force as well, in case you're on the run from something.
If the councils know more, would the bounty on the dragons still be active? How do you know who started?
If it was paid in advance, which is most likely, which is how the council generally did things, then that contract would still be in effect if anyone that was tasked to do it still lives.
And there's no taking it off, even though there are no more.
Once all of the dragons have gone, then obviously the task is complete. But obviously, if depending on who they task for it, if it's just the Fang still exists, so the contract still exists. If they simply subcontracted to someone else, and they no longer lived, then the contract would be forfeit.
I look at Allie and say, good to know.
What is this, guys? Come on.
And Thorfi then turns to you, Alessandros, and says, he says this in front of anyone, in front of everyone there. Do they know who you are?
Do you guys want to tell him, or do you want me to?
Yes. I don't know if I do know what he is.
Gonna side glance in at Nari and look at Ali and say, I don't know that everyone knows who you are.
Gonna work get bad, isn't it?
Well, I mean, the Enclave is sure to know. There's not much the Enclave doesn't know. But obviously, something has come to light. The glances, the looks, the questions.
I neither confirm or deny anything.
Alessandros, it is clear that the group, possibly as a whole, but may not know the whole story. But I think in light of recent events, I think it's time for us all to come clean.
You first.
My part in all this, obviously, was the head of the council, and the council contracted the Fang to hunt down and eradicate the last of the dragons at the end of the Great Dragon War. I know that contract was passed on to a clan of changelings. They had a reputation of never failing in their task. And I believe that you guys, the rest of you, have possibly figured that out, that Alessandros is part of that clan. But what you may not know, she is the last of that clan. the contract that her clan was given is still active while she lives. She has a choice to fulfill that contract or to not fulfill that contract. But if she chooses not to rejoin the Fang, then the contract can never be fulfilled.
So there you guys have it. Let's go. No? Okay.
Hmm.
So she's the last of her kind fighting for humanity. And if one of her turned evil, would you make all of her extinct as well?
Well, at the end of the day, if she chose, and again, this is her choice, if she chooses to rejoin the Fang and to complete her contract, then I believe all hope would be lost. And I, for one, I stood against the council in this order in the first place. It's the reason I disbanded the council at the time, is there was corruption within the council. No one could agree on anything. If it was my choice, and he looks directly at you, Alessandros, and you can almost see not hatred, but because of what's now happened to Naemaris, and he doesn't blame you, but there's that element, you can see that element of sort of blame in his eyes, that he sort of looks directly at you and says, if she chose to fulfill her contract, I would smite her where she stands.
And if Naemaris chooses to follow the path she's on and continues her way, would you smite her as well?
If it was by her own choice, then it would give me no choice, nor pleasure. But I would do what I had to do.
What I miss?
All right. Shall we get going to the governor's house or whatever he is?
The Lord of Valonde.
That's it.
Yes, good plan. We need to find out what we can do.
And
Yes, we
Thorfi
need to do it
then
quickly.
speaks to Alessandros once more. Are you sure there is nothing you need to tell us, Alessandros? And he looks directly right into your eyes, Alessandros, and you get the impression he knows exactly what you've done.
Nothing that I would like to tell you. I will tell the others privately.
See that you do. And he just folds his hands and sits back in his seat. And once again just says to you guys, anything you need, come see me. I'm going to research what I can, find out potentially what has happened with Naemaris. But Het, as I said, if she has turned of her own free volition, do what needs to be done. No impunity.
I guess we will try our best to get her back. If she is not really this evil being, then we shall cast the evil from her.
That's all I can ask. So, anyone got anything else to say?
No, I'm pretty good.
So,
Go talk to this other.
off to Heart's Village, which which is towards the center of town. Oh, crap. Oh, crap, went too far. So, towards the center of town, you got Temple Village and Hearts Village. Hearts Village is where the essentially it's not really a castle, but it's like a large manor home. You can't really miss it. It's very, very big. So it's a fenced compound. You notice the guard that are guarding the gate are exactly how Thorfi described them. They are in very polished silverish. It's not silverish, but it's very silver-like armor, trimmed in the dark red, and then the trimmed black and dark red cloaks as well. So you approach the gates. The guards... Halt! What is your business here?
You want to deal with his head?
Apparently not. It's you, Sadiq.
We're here to talk to whatever the guy's name is.
Coram Mordan.
That dude.
And by whose authority do you wish to speak to the Lord of Valonde?
By whose authority? I need authority to talk to somebody.
You need to have permission to speak with the Lord without an appointment, of course. Everybody knows this.
Thorfi suggested that we come here.
Actually, I thought it was this silver chick that
Naemaris
suggested.
suggested that we come here.
Oh, yes, I did. We need to speak with Coram Mordan.
Too busy doing other things. I can hear her typing furiously over there.
I was answering someone in the chat.
Wow, cheeky DMs. So the guard sort of looks you guys up and down.
Oh, I take out my seal and show him
You
the
show him the seal.
Yeah.
And he sort of snaps to attention. You're here on Enclave orders?
That is
One moment.
correct.
And he sort of spins on his heels like a very military fashion, turns on his heels and other guard opens a gate for him and he disappears inside. About 10 or 15 minutes goes by and the other guards standing near shield and spear, and the first guard returns and says, the Lord will see you now. Please, this way. And he leads you to the manor house. So you lead up to the main doors. The guard sort of leaves you there, and you are greeted by a almost like a butler. He's almost like a suit and tie type thing, but it's a very sort of posh looking garb. He's probably in his 50s, balding on top, piercing blue eyes, human, and he doesn't speak to you at all. He just sort of bows and waves his head and sort of leads you into a large foyer area. So the ceilings are really high in here. Single spiral staircase, quite large, sort of leads one side leading up to the upper floors. He then leads you off to just to the right of those stairs, opens a set of double doors and leads you into a sitting room. In the sitting room is a couple of large leather couches and a big large fireplace with a huge ornate mantle. Above that mantle is a portrait of an elven gentleman, long silvery grey hair, quite pale. looks to be relatively young in this portrait. Again, steely grey eyes, very piercing sort of intense look on this man's face. Dressed in what looks to be leather armor, a leather style armor. You notice on one side, the side that is showing just almost a side profile, and you notice a splash of green, which looks like something's been stitched into the armor. Wearing a cloak and everything as well. The rest of the room is a couple of bookshelves with a few books, splatterings common, elven, dwarvish, a few languages there, and a sideboard there with what looks to be probably alcohol. And so you guys the butler leads you to and waves you towards the seats, and then bows and sort of retreats out and closes the doors behind you, leaving you there for the moment.
I'm going to go look at the bar and see if there's anything good to drink.
You wander over to that. You have a look around it. You open a few of the decanters, and is usual what you'd usually find there is whiskey. Looks like something that would pass as port. Probably a cognac type drink as well. These glass, like, it's set out quite nice. Like, it's all looks like it's all crystal decanters, and very what looks to be expensive crystal tumblers as well.
I raise my hands up like, really? Really, Sadiq? What are you doing?
What? We're left in a room with a bar. Just checking the bar.
After about 5 minutes or so, the doors reopen. Same gentleman pushes them open and sort of stands almost to attention, but hands folded in front of him. And then he speaks, I present to you Lord Coram Mordan. And then takes half a step back and indeed walks a very tall elven gentleman. Same long silvery grey hair, very pale, steely grey eyes. He's dressed in almost the same colours as the guards, so it's dark red over jacket with black trim, dark grey, which looks to be like leather style pants, and black boots.
What's Sadiq's swords doing? Or his glowy amulet, whichever one glows.
Nothing at this stage. It's as still as it just looks like it normally does.
Affirmative.
So he comes in and says, please, because Sadiq, you're still standing, I assume?
Yes.
And he says, please, can we all take a seat? I think I know why you're here. And he looks to you and Ari and says to you, he sort of nods to you and says to you in Elvish, I'm pleased your enclave is involved. I think it's time more information is given to these fine people. And sort of gives you another nod and then sits down with you.
I just nod. Thank you, Lord.
And with that, he sits down and almost in an informal sort of manner. And he looks at you all and says, I think I know why you're here. You are missing one rather strong individual. And I think I know why she is missing.
No, Hit's still in the party. I don't know what you're talking about.
And he laughs and says, yes, while Het is strong, of course, as most Dragonborn are, unfortunately he would have been no match for young Naemaris. I've known her since she was but a child, and it was apparent her strength at a very young age, which it vexes me to hear that she has been lost to the darkness.
Did you know about her inner demons?
I knew about her race and about the dark dreaming, yes, of course. But my connection with her is somewhat deeper than that. You see, And he, at this point, you see him. He sort of he swallows quite deeply, and takes a big breath in, and says, "I once, a number of years ago, was in the exact same position she is now. I formerly fought against all humanity at the side of Kosis and that foul creature Asmodeus. And while I had no control over my actions, I remember everything. And the things that I did, I will never atone for. The lives lost, the betrayals, but I had no control. Asmodeus is a powerful, powerful entity. And if he has breached the veils, his strength has grown. And he will not stop."
So how did you break free then?
I didn't break free. This is the thing. Thorfi was the one that broke me free of this darkness, this veil that had been pulled over my eyes. You see, Thorfi is not as old as he seems, but the power used to free me almost killed him. Took him years to recover. And this is why I'm in the position I am today. I've spent the last 200 years trying to atone for my actions, trying to help people. This city has flourished under my rule, and I will do everything I can to see that Naemaris is returned to her former self. Now, it will take one of or two things, potentially. A high-level Dispel Magic, and I mean high-level, a very accomplished mage or arcane user in time would be able to learn a spell at this level and potentially save her. Or you find a scroll of wishing, or an Afriti to bend to your will to enable you to wish her back to a normal existence. But that is all the information I can give you about that. I don't know any other way that would free her from this particular spell.
If Thorfi could do it before, can he not do it again?
He's too old now. I don't believe he possesses enough strength to even complete the spell halfway. It needs someone who is strong-willed, strong at heart, and pure of heart also. The spell will not work otherwise.
What about you? Are you not a mighty caster yourself? I see your robes.
I once was an adventurer, much like you, in a place far from here. I still have some of my abilities, my druidic abilities for sure, but as a druid I do not possess the power to cast these spells.
So what you're saying is you took an arrow to the knee.
Not quite.
No, chin.
Not quite, Alessandros. You see, I was also a warlock. I was a lot darker than what I am now, which was the reason I was able to be turned. I made a pact with a demon hundreds of years ago to gain necrotic powers, and which I regret to this day, but I was able to, at a time, change that. But in time, my warlock abilities just feigned and have not been able to cast a warlock spell for many decades now. But my sole focus is nature and the druidic arts. But as I said, this information should help you. There are two things that you will possibly need to do before you would even consider facing Kosis or Cass again. The first is seek out Ildri, the White Dragon. Last believed to have been in the north. Her lair is rumored to be in the north of the Howling Mountains region. If not finding her, potentially her disciples, she may still have loyal, I don't want to call it, people still loyal to her in that region. The other is some items that will definitely help you and aid you in these battles to come. You will...
I've got a wish scroll.
No, there is no wish scroll to be found in these. Potentially, I don't know, but specific items.
Scroll.
A Rissol, yes.
A Rissol,
with me,
yes.
pastry on the outside.
There are artifacts that could potentially help you. A carpet said to be able to fly and carry you in swift form. A rod that is believed to be able to resurrect the dead. There is also a bow, and he looks directly at you and Ari, and he says, I believe the Enclave may already know of this bow's existence, but not its whereabouts.
That's correct.
But there is a bow that would definitely aid you in this battle. Those particular items are believed to be guarded by a very, very dangerous creature. A large eye with large tentacles. It has been contracted to guard these items with its life. This will be no easy task. I'm not 100% sure where this may be, but if you were to research it or look through the archives, you may find some mention of this place's existence. The next in the list of items is an iron flask and a sword that is supposed to have properties of ice and cold. This has been guarded by a large, unnaturally large carrion crawler. And this can be found in the ruins to the southwest of Valonde. But there is also rumors of a vampire who now resides in those ruins. So, again, be on your guard in searching for these items. The last of these items is a horn that is said to have belonged to Odin himself. An ancient gold dagger that is said to aid in the slaying of dragons, and the famed dragon slayer's longsword. These, however, have been rumoured to be in the possession of one Cass Agnond. So these items, I believe that you will need before you would even consider facing Kosis and trying to stop him in his efforts to breach the veils, raise Valonde to the ground, and open the portals permanently.
I'm sorry, what was the other item that Cass had?
There is a horn that is believed to have belonged to Odin, the Allfather. There is an ancient golden dagger, and the Dragon Slayer's sword.
That was one I missed.
So, do we need all of these things, or are these choices that we make?
If you were able to find them all,
Yes.
definitely you would be a formidable group. Most definitely, if you could find even but a few of these items, would most certainly help you in your endeavors to defeat Kosis and now Naemaris. The one thing that you do not know about Naemaris is, yes, she has potentially been turned to darkness, but she is now undergoing a transformation as we speak. And if you do see her again, she will not be the person you remember. She will be a dark, dark being with immense power. She will have to be not defeated to death, but taken down to near death before you could even consider casting any form of restorative spell. The spell will not work if she is at her strongest. She needs to be weakened.
That sounds ominous, but I guess it's a part of the mission, right?
So this Agnon dude's apparent may have the gold day, yeah?
That is the rumor. I cannot be 100% certain, but the tomb and where these items were kept was on the island of Beeple, and it is believed that Cass was responsible for removing those items' benefactors from that island, and also removing the items.
So we need to travel to this island.
The items are no longer there. They will be in Cass Agnon's possession at his castle, I would believe.
Marvelous.
Maybe we look at the other items first. There's 2 other sets. I mean, I'd be keen to just go vampire hunting for the second set of items. Sadiq, how about you?
Yes, I'm always up for the vampire hunting, but why do we have to go find Yuldry as well?
Yildry's lair will also have a number of items which may help. There has been rumored that there is a magic wand, another bow of some power, and possibly the ancient gold dagger. We're not 100% sure where the dagger ended up. It's either in Yildry's lair or it's with Kaz. But the other items, any items is going to help. But if you were to find Yildry and convince her to rejoin this battle, convince her that humanity is not lost. She fought for us once before. I'm sure she will fight for us again. This time, without the council.
Who of the council put the contract on the dragons?
It was a council decision.
So a hole in a hole type thing.
It was a democracy. You see, this is how democracies work. A whole bunch of people sit around a table, everyone goes yay or nay, and the motion was passed. It was a lot opposed, but
If we convince her to join, then she'll just have a huge target on her head. How do we take it off? Do we talk to the Black Fang?
well, I believe that the last of the clan hired to kill her is sitting in this very room. So that decision lies with her. And he looks directly at you, Alessandros.
Well, you do get about, don't you?
I am 800 years old, young Alessandros. I was around when the contract was struck. I was a part of the Dragon Wars trying to stop the eradication of dragons.
So did you know Yildry?
I never met her. She fled before the uprising, and she was instrumental in stopping Kosis. Yes, the council betrayed her. I feel for her for that. But knowing what I know, Kosis is lost. He was never going to stop. The council had no choice but to bind him to the Hells. It was the only place strong enough to hold him. Obviously, they could not anticipate how strong he would become with Asmodeus' help. And now, I don't even think Kosis exists in his mind anymore. He is no longer Kosis. He is something else. He's changed.
Psychosis.
He shoots you. He just shoots you a look, Sadiq, which kind of a half-pie smirk, but almost a look of disdain as well. But he sort of addresses the whole group again and just says, Naemaris can be saved. Humanity can be saved if you choose to do that. And he took
Humanity in all races, I assume.
Humanity is everybody hit. Dragonborn, Orc, Centaur, all races. All life on this material plane can be saved if we choose to make the right decisions. And he looks back at you, Alessandros, and he says to you, I also know what bargain you struck. The choice is yours in the end, Alessandros. Whatever decision you make will shape the rest of your life. And I hope you make the right choice.
My thoughts are my own.
Well, actually, they're not. I can read your thoughts. But
Oh, shit, great.
your thoughts are not your own, unfortunately, not in this day and age. There are far too many powerful arcane users for a mere changeling to disguise what they are thinking and what knowledge they have. When you've been alive as long as I have, you learn a thing or two. But as I said, I've spent the last 200 years trying to atone for the atrocities that I committed in mere days. So if Naemaris is in now that same predicament, you will see her again. But she will not be who you remember.
One last question. Would a dragon like Yildre have enough power to have any magic like to dispel for Naemaris?
But potentially, yes. I mean, she would be an ancient by now, for sure. It's been a long time. I believe so. I believe she would have the power to do that, but only in dragon form. I don't believe that she may have taken human form by now to hide herself. That dragons can do some amazing things. She may still be in the north. She could be anywhere in the realm, but the north is the place to start. At her lair, find her disciples and see if they can help in any way.
I think that's a good place to start.
Did you say north? Hit Petra's compass. Let's go. And looks direct north.
Yes, pretty much from the city of Valonde. You take out your compass and your map. Not directly north of Valonde, but more northeastish. Directly north of Riffield. You guys know Riffield very well. You have been there. Directly north of Riffield, there's a large lake, and north of that, there is what is called the Falcon Hills and the Falcon Hills Mountains. Now, in those it's very, very cold up there. Obviously, it's a mountainous range, and there are lots of caves and unexplored areas that potentially a ancient white dragon could potentially hide herself.
I look at Hit and his compass and I'm like, seem to have quite an affinity with that compass there, Hit. What's that about?
Hit flicks the compass back open and says, well, look at that. It's time to go.
Wow. I'm gonna take my leave and wait outside and nod to the Lord there.
And he stands up as you get up to leave and says, "Please, dispense with the formalities. I may be lord of this city, but I'm still just a common adventurer. And I will do anything in my power to ensure that you are not hindered in any way in your tasks." And with that, before you leave, he gets up and reaches inside his cloak and hands all of you his personal seal, which is a bronze medallion with CM pretty much on just a large M with a C on the front of it. You get the impression that this would be the exact same seal that he uses for his wax seals for his letters. And he hands each of you one of these and says to you, "If you are bothered by the local guard, or any local guard in any city in the realm, I may not be lord of other cities, but we are the capital, and my seal is recognized across the realms. You are now agents of Valonde, you are no longer part of the Adventurers Guild, per se. You are still members, of course, but you are now working for the city. You are now truly the Lions of Valonde. I wish you the utmost luck in your journeys. May you find what you need to find, and quickly."
What time of day is it?
This still be in the morning. We're probably heading into about lunchtime by this point. This whole sort of journey to the Heart's Village, then this conversation would have taken place over probably 2 or 3 hours.
Because I know where I want to go.
Well, if you want to go somewhere, you tell me where you want to go. If you don't want to tell the group, DM it. So what are we all doing?
Fiela's waiting outside for the others.
Okay.
I've gone out and joined Fiela.
Hitch is heading out as well, following the two ladies.
I'm going to follow as well.
Same.
So you all head out. As you leave the sitting room, the butler opens the main doors for you and stands back as you pass. The guards, the guard that escorted you back to the house, escorts you back to the main gate of the grounds, and wait. Pretty much as you leave, he closes the gate and back to his post. So, what are you guys going to do?
A lot to think about. What do we want to start with?
Yes, that's a good question, Fiela. I got some notes on all those items. Mostly just the last ones. So hopefully you guys have got some notes on the others.
I think you're the only one with a pen and paper here.
Oh, crap.
Yes.
I wrote about the beasts that guard them. Didn't write about what they were, so I'll get that message from the boss later.
Did we need to find out what we're looking
Well, yes. I will DM you guys the list of items. So you wrote it down. So there you go. Inari has written things down for you.
We are looking for a flying carpet, rod of resurrection, a bow, not quite sure what that does, an ice cold sword, horn of Odin, ancient gold dragon slaying dagger, dragon slayer's sword, and that's it.
I got most of that, I just didn't get where everything was.
Ian DM'd you.
We don't know, it's just not on the island anymore.
Alright, so I guess it's time to
Okay.
take a visit to some places.
So, firstly, we will go with Lashandris. You wanting to head back there to get some information?
Yeah. Well, I figured I've got their seal and all that, so I may as well use them for whatever I can.
True.
Are
See,
we?
see, there's a bonus for me doing that. So yeah, I told the group what I'd like to do,
Well, tell them.
and also
Tell them. Don't tell me. Tell them.
Okay, so as you guys know, yes, I with the Black Fang and blah blah blah. But anyway, I write a note. I'd like to use them.
Is this the thing you wanted to discuss with us in private and not in front of Thorfi?
Well, we're walking away from we're in amongst people, aren't we? Or away from people. Hopefully, we're away from people.
Well, you're in a crowded city. I mean, this is the capital of Paradym. So at the moment, you've just stepped out into a reasonably busy street. So you'd have to find yourself a quiet. If you wanted to talk privately, I mean, people would probably overhear if they were trying to. But I mean, if you're standing around talking to each other, I mean, unless someone's being really nosy, they probably wouldn't sort of question what you're talking about. But if you wanted to find something more quiet, that's up to you.
I'm going to see some people. Can't guarantee your guys' safety if you want to come along. There we go. I'm going.
Well, do we want to go, guys?
So with that, Alessandros turns and heads off. What sort of pace are you going, Alessandros?
Normal pace.
Normal pace? So do you guys follow?
Hit has no interest in following to the Black Fang.
I'm going to go with him.
Okay, so you're going with Alessandros. Who else is going with Alessandros?
I'll follow.
Nari follows. Hit staying.
Yes.
Sadiq, what are you up to?
I'm gonna start with Ted.
Okay, okay. So, what Sadiq and Hit, what are you guys going to do?
I'm gonna head back to the Arcanist and start doing research on the items to try to find out
Okay.
if there's a way to imbue Het's magical compass to point to the direction where they are.
Okay, so you guys are going to head to the Arcanist for you're going to go to look for some research. Cool, we're going to do it. We'll do a research thing in just a moment. So first things first, you guys start heading off towards the Arcanist. You know where it is. It'll probably take you about an hour to get there. The rest of you are heading back into the city sewer, but following Alessandros, you shut up. I'm telling the story.
I'm not going to that damn sewer.
Shh! Don't interrupt me. You leave the city limits. You head back to the spot on the outskirts in the forest where you exited the Thieves Guild, obviously knowing where it is now and having access.
Well, before we enter, I turn to Mari and say, I cannot and will not guarantee your safety down there.
Sorry, I can
You can what?
guarantee my own safety.
Okay, your funeral. Fiona,
Yes.
I'll try my best.
With that, you descend down the ladder, and when you get to the bottom, everything is pitch black. No torches lit, no nothing.
I am going to pass
Speak
without
up.
trace. I'm going to cast pass without trace.
Wrong accent, lady. You're going to cast Pass Without a Trace.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does, guys, is if you wish to use stealth, you'll get a +10 to your stealth check. You have to be within 30 feet of Inari, though, for it to work.
Carry on as normal.
Who has dark vision amongst you guys?
Yeah.
I do.
Actually, you got your goggles, don't you?
Yeah.
So, you can only just sort of see because the only light sources coming from. Well, actually, no, because you close the lid as you come down. So you pretty much plunge into complete darkness. So there's not even enough light for you guys to see with your dark vision. Very far, maybe 5 or 10 feet in front of you, you can barely see your hand in front of your face. But you do move forward. Everyone roll a perception check with disadvantage, please.
Really?
Yep.
Even though I'm in my favourite element.
With you, it'd be a straight roll. No, it's not the Underdark. And you're not in the forest. You're underground.
God damn it.
So, no, everyone with a disadvantage.
Perception, was it?
Yep. And it's an active roll, so there will be no passives.
11.
13.
19.
9. Wow, even with disadvantage.
What do I take off on the disadvantage?
Roll the dice twice and take the lowest.
Oh. I can't see it then.
So what was your lowest roll?
6.
Yeah, okay, so what'd you get, Fiona?
I got an 11.
11. And what was yours, Inari, sorry?
13.
13. So, Inari, you'd probably notice it first. You get a distinct smell, a very coppery smell. You've smelt it a lot before. You've been in battle enough times to know the smell of blood when you smell it. Very coppery, sort of, and it almost gives you that taste in your mouth when you smell it. It's that strong.
Do I relay this to the team? I do.
Just carry on.
So you carry on slowly but steadily through this corridor, and you hear nothing. There's not a single sound. You hear the usual sounds being underground, the dripping water, that little bit of breeze sort of blowing through the caverns and stuff. But no talking, no nothing. Just, you don't hear anything. You get to that chamber where you guys initially met Ariane on her semi-type throne chair. Again, the room is drenched in darkness. You can't really see a lot. What are you doing?
Come to seek an audience with Ariane.
A couple of minutes go by, no response. A few more minutes, still no response.
I take it there's torches on the wall and all that, aren't there? But I can see them very far. Can I see torches? Can I find torches?
You can sort of, if you want to feel around for a torch, you can. So you just want to wander around. Make an investigation check at disadvantage to see if you can find one.
I see him doing this, and I say, Allie, would you like me to cast a light spell?
Yeah, all right.
So cast Druidcraft and do a little flame.
It gives you enough light to basically it brightens the room up enough, because now with your dark sight, with that little bit of flame, gives you enough ambient light to see your full 30 feet with your dark vision.
I'll wait all the torches are off.
So you find the torches around the room and you start lighting them, and one by one...
I cast that spell.
Thaumaturgy? Or prestidigitation?
Yeah, that's it.
You really got to read your spells, Trash. Because I believe prestidigitation... candle, torch, you can use it for that, but just make sure you read your spells. Remember how to say it. Prestidigitation.
You could do that, so yeah.
Thaumaturgy is easier. But prestidigitation, and you light the torches around the room, and as you light them one by one, you are met with the most grisly sight you've seen in all of your life. There are bodies everywhere. And some are completely torn apart. There is body parts strewn across the floor. There is blood up the walls. As you sort of scan the room, you find a number of bodies that are completely bled out and dry. Like doesn't look like there's any blood left in the bodies. You look around, you get to the chair or the throne where Paradym would normally sit, and in that chair she does still sit, but she is completely eviscerated. Her insides are now on the outside.
Do any of us, I say this out loud, know if this looks like vampires?
If it was vampires, I'd say they'd be drained of blood with just holes, but this is something else. I'm going up to whoever her name was and
Ariane?
check the call. Yeah, Ariane, and just check for items and stuff, and also check.
You're going to loot the dead bodies, you grave robber.
He is a rogue.
So, Fiala, you want to try and determine whether you think it was vampires or something of that nature. Roll a medicine check if you want to check a body. Alchandris, roll an investigation check for your looting of the corpses. And Anari, if you wanted, whatever you wanted, did you want to do anything as well?
I just wanted to know if I've seen this before.
Roll a history check with advantage.
18.
What was that, Trash?
18.
18? Yeah, well, you swiftly, I mean, you've delved through corpses' pockets before, and easily enough you go through the pockets and all you find across about 4 or 5 bodies is about 72 gold. The weapons are all gone.
Oh, bugger.
For all intents and purposes, most of the gold and everything's been gone. The stuff that you found was sort of reasonably well hidden, like almost like in a smuggler's way, in pouches that wouldn't normally be in, but as a thief you'd know that stuff. So, but that's pretty much all you find.
11.
11?
I know shit.
You have not seen... Well, it's not that you haven't seen it before. You are not 100% sure what has caused this, but it's definitely... No one living could have done this kind of damage. This is definitely bestial in nature, or potentially fiendish in nature. It's pretty gruesome. What do you get, Fiala?
Dirty 24.
Dirty 24. And yeah, with that roll, you look around the bodies. You look at the bodies that have been completely drained of blood, and their throats have been torn out. You have seen enough undead and enough of that kind of thing in your life, and in the time that you've spent with the group, that this was definitely unnatural. Unnatural beings, whether it was ghouls, zombies, vampires, may have been a mixture of both. It could have even been some form of demon that has done this, but it's definitely not natural.
Look around for oil.
Oil. Roll another investigation check. So you're looking for like lantern oil.
Lantern oil, flammable oil.
Right, okay.
Oil
So
that'll burn.
have a look around.
Perception again, was it?
Investigation.
Investigation.
So you're looking for something specific.
23.
23. You do indeed find some lantern oil, obviously in a little storage room. They seem to have had a small like tankard of lantern oil they used to top the lanterns up, probably about 2 litres of oil.
Allie, what are you doing?
Well, the fact that you've just worked out that it was done by undead, and our previous experience with undead is let's burn the dead ones.
Aren't we in a sewer with gases?
Well, see, we can go back down the tunnel and lead a line of oil, and yeah.
Okay.
Don't like that idea? I mean, it'll probably affect the rest of the sewers, but do you really want undead wandering out in the sewers?
Yep, let's blow it up.
Dude, awesome idea!
So you go around. The 2 litres of oil you have probably won't be enough to burn all of the bodies individually, but you stack up. You take about an hour and you stack a few bodies up and use the tables and chairs to create a bit of a bonfire in the centre of this large room. Trashy, you would know, well, Alshonus, you would know that the other end of the main corridor is that trapdoor, which leads into the sewer, which is completely sealed off, and you guys don't smell anything in this area. So this area does not smell like the sewers. So you would have an understanding enough to know that methane gas is not going to be an issue because it's fairly well sealed.
Let the others know that.
So you take the time, you spread the oil around, and do you light the fire before you leave, or do you run a trail anyway still?
Run a trail. I don't want to be caught down there.
So you've probably got enough oil to probably run halfway up that corridor. You wouldn't get all the way.
All right, so the plan is you guys get ready. Well, who wants to light it first? Who's the quickest runner?
Oh, wow.
Possibly me.
Looks like you drew the short straw there, huh?
Couldn't we light her one of her arrows, maybe?
Yeah, but that's only halfway. No, is the whole way straight or curved?
It's got a slight curve to it, but should potentially be able to shoot an arrow the length of the corridor and light the oil.
Can give it a go.
All right, let's do that.
So you wrap a bit of cloth around the arrowhead, and you light it.
Before you fires, Piela, get up that ladder.
Getting up. Aye, aye.
So Fiala, you exit, head up the ladder. Alshonus, are you going up the ladder as well, or are you going to wait down the bottom?
Wait down the bottom, I guess.
Okay, so you wrap the arrowhead. You keep a little bit of oil and put on the arrowhead so that you can soak that bit of cloth. You light it. Anari.
Prestidigitation. Hey, I said it.
Prestidigitation, no worries. So you light it. Anari, roll to hit, please.
would be a 17.
As you draw back, you sort of close one eye. It's a slight curve on the corridor, so you know you're probably going to have to almost shoot the wall, but you're going to have to skim the right-hand wall to get it to go dead straight and land in that small puddle of oil. That's probably a good 40 feet from where you are. So you sort of knock the arrow, you pull it right back, full draw, and you let a breath go, and then you release. And Alessandros, you see the arrow streak out in that streak of light, and then you see it hit the wall just ever so slightly, just the edge of the cloth, a shower of sort of sparks, and it hits right into that puddle of oil, ignites it, and it just, all you see is just the bright glow of oil, and then you sort of hear that as it sort of moves, and then as you go up the ladder, you don't hear an explosion. You hear that, as you pull petrol on a campfire, you hear that woof as the bonfire ignites, and then as you guys exit the top of the ladder, you start to see the smoke start to trail out through the trapdoor. You close the trapdoor, smoke starts coming out a few of the vents just on the outside of the forest here. It's and it smells pretty bad, but it's not like huge plumes of smoke, but it's enough that if anyone was walking by, they'd notice it.
I'm gonna look at Allie and say, I think your contract with the Black Fang might have expired.
Maybe. I think we should go report this straight away to the boss dude who we're working for now.
Decorum?
Yes, him.
Nice shooting, by the way, Inari.
It's my thing.
So yeah, so heading back to boss dude. Any objections?
Should we tell Sadiq first about the undead killing, or should
we
we
can
just
tell
go
that we
straight
can
to the...
We can tell them later. We go tell boss dude.
All right.
Right, so we'll leave you guys there, and we'll switch over to Sadiq and Het. You guys have returned back to the Arcanus. Actually, before we do that, it's 9 o'clock. We'll take a short break. So bear with us, chat. We're going to have a bit of a drinks break. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate it.
I think a couple of people have some questions.
Any questions? Hit us up now. We're gonna. I'm just going to take a short break. I'll be right back. When we come back, we'll take 5-10 minutes just to answer some questions. So if you've got any questions, when we get back, it's time to ask. Don't forget to hit that follow button if you already haven't. And if you really like hanging out with us, hit that sub button so you get notifications on when we go live. We do this every Sunday night, plus do gaming during the week as well. But we will be right back.
If I could roll an insight check to see if Inari and the dude that we just went and saw looks.
Right, we are back.
Nice shooting, by the way, Inari.
It's my
Check out what Drax put up.
Yeah, it's good.
That's actually pretty good.
Nice shooting, by
Classic 80s reply. It's my thing. Right, chat. If you got any questions, let us know now. We've got five or so minutes before we get back into the story. So I do apologise that we're not interacting with chat while we're involved in the story, but it's all about the immersion, trying to keep things going as smoothly as possible. But now's the time. So Learborn, thank you so much for your follow. Appreciate it very, very much. Just quickly too, Twitch Prime subs, don't forget that your subs do not auto-renew, so if you have got a Twitch Prime sub and you want to resub, you have to do it manually. A lot of people don't realise that. So. But questions, if you have any.
Just paid for it.
Any questions? Now's the time. This is episode 25 of this campaign, so we are a fair way through. If you do want to catch up on the story, !YT in the chat will give you the YouTube link, and all previous episodes are on my YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Piggott. So definitely go check out the previous episodes. You'll catch up with where we are on the story. And we do this every Sunday night, 7:30 PM New Zealand Standard Time. So for those of you over in the Englands, that'll be like early morning for you, the day before. Well, today, whatever. It'll be early morning, like 6:30 or something. But yeah, definitely check out the YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube as well. We need another 20 subscribers on the YouTube to get the custom URL. We're getting close to that. Costs you nothing to sub on YouTube, just clicking a button. Ooh, it's getting warm again.
It's getting bloody cold over here, actually.
But yes, so
Cold in Aussie.
where they are,
it's been raining.
where they are, they have winters like we do here.
Oh, where are you fellas?
So, Mr. DM,
Yes.
Gippsland.
I take it I'll find out once I speak to Boss Man whether I sign the contract or not.
No. I'm not going to give you all the information, man. You got to find some shit out for yourself.
Bloody DMs.
It's all part of the story, dude. All part of the story. I can turn off the dank cavern.
I have to ask bloody Drax what he's going to do if he drops his controller or keyboard into the spa.
Into the spa pool. That'd be funny.
No, you went out and got a waterproof one.
Probably. Knowing him, he probably would have. Or he just put it in a plastic bag.
It might be safer to get a 230 volt one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, so if no one in the chat has any questions, we will get back into the story.
I know there was one about
I'm
question about the points buy earlier. Well, for the stats, I think Nutty answered that.
Yes. As far as the stats are, yes, we are running on points. We did run on a points buy system. The next campaign will all be rolled stats. So we're using D&D Beyond for the character sheets. So there is you guys in the chat should be able to see there's an overlay from D&D Beyond, which will give you all the characters' information. Plus, I mean, you've got information on screen, but it just gives you a bit more. It'll show you their actual character sheet. So that should be available for you But yes, the points, the stats were done on a point-to-buy system. So, without any further delays, we'll head back into the world of Paradym, and we'll pick up at the Arcanus with Sadiq and Het, who are going to do some research. So, when you get to the Arcanus, the Thorfi's still there. There's a few other people milling around as well. And so, what specifically do you want to research? You know what I mean?
Whatever information, whatever information we can about the items that Blondie told us about, Silvery told us about, and about the dragon and the northern area that she.
Okay, so who wants to research about Yildri and her lair? And who wants to research about the potential whereabouts of the items that Coram has mentioned?
Het would like to research the potential whereabouts and the creatures, the tentacle creature and the carrion crawler. So if you don't mind, Sadiq, I will check those.
All right, and I'll look for about the north, where she could have her lair.
Just about the area?
And her. And her cult and anything, all that type of information.
So no one's going to research about the potential whereabouts of the items?
Well, they're the only two there.
Yeah, that's what Het's doing, and I'm doing the others.
It's part of what you're doing. Okay, cool. So, first thing, so you hit the books. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 hours for you to research this information. Be a lot of reading, but Het, we'll start with you. You find you asked a few of the mages around there about information to dealing with a large eye-like beast with tentacles, and obviously carrion crawlers, and the potential whereabouts of these particular items that you've been given. Roll a intelligence check for me with advantage, because you've been given partial information as well.
Oh, intelligence, these are my favorite checks. I am so intellectual. It's 11, take away 1 is 10.
Oh, shit.
And that's with advantage.
Wow. So, couple that with a history check, just a straight history check as well.
Oh, I love history checks. These are my favorite checks. That's a 3.
Oh, shit.
No.
Can we swap?
So, with that check, I mean, you remember reading books about creatures, and you've heard your dad talk about this eye beast creature before. You've heard him call it by its name, which is a beholder. You find in this book, it's a single page, and it has a rough sketch of what this potential beholder looks like. And as when I say a rough sketch, by your standards, it's terrible. But it gives you a rough idea of what the creature will look like.
Oh my god, it looked like a child with half a hand drew this picture.
Pretty much. Same thing with the carrion crawlers. I mean, you've heard about carrion crawlers. You know that they're large worm-like creatures. They're burrowers. Again, they have tentacles as well, but you've never actually seen one. There's no pictures of one in the research that you're doing. As far as the potential whereabouts of these items, all that you find with that dismal roll is it's a single word that sort of stands out to you, which is grim. And there's other words there, but there's grim, and it looks like it might be a second word, but it's kind of unintelligible. You can't really read it. But So you get the impression it might be an area on the map that has Grim in it. But that's all you get about the potential location of where the Beholder may be located. As far as the carrion crawler thing, you've been given information that Cass Agnon has potentially some of those items, and then there's the other potential vampire hazard, which you guys have actually had a bit of information about before, which was the Bastion of X, where that you assume that's where the carrion crawler cavern may be, and where these items may be is under that particular ruin, which is to the southeast of Valonde along the coast.
That's extreme hours of reading well spent.
Pretty much. I mean, your head hurts. You've read so much, and you've sort of got sidetracked a few times, and
it just goes with my intelligence on my sheet.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's about all the information you get. You don't really get any information about what a Beholder's capable of, or even the carrion crawlers. Like you've heard the name, you know roughly what they are, but you don't know what abilities they have or anything like that. So that's pretty much you.
Hey Sadiq, I'm on a roll here. I'm doing real good. Taking notes, just so you know.
Have you worked out what they actually do?
What the creatures do, what the caves do, or what the items do?
Either.
Oh yeah, this bee-holding creature. He's like rides a horse and he has a spear and stuff. It's pretty on to it.
I always thought they just hold bee.
Wow.
Yeah, bees on the end of a spear. I think that's what it says here. It's hard. It's like it's written in some child's handwriting. And then the other, the carrion crawler, the other one along Millipedo centipedus thing. It just eats the dead by the sounds of it. And you know vampires. I can't give you much more on that. But yeah, I'm taking notes. It's good. We'll catch up later. I'll leave it to your reading.
Right.
Our research team, everyone. Our research team.
That's awesome. Now, Sadiq.
You're not even here.
Sadiq, your roll. You will make for me first a history roll. At advantage, because you've been given some information, so make a history check at advantage.
Ooh, nice. 23.
Whew. So, you find out, reading through the books, there is actually a reasonable amount of information about Yildri, the Champion of Men. You guys have been given some information. There is no information about the exact location of where her lair is, because no one's ever really found it. There's speculation of a specific area directly north of Redfield where it potentially could be, but everyone that has gone there has never returned. So there's been no return information on that particular area. It's not even really been mapped properly. You do find that she does potentially have loyal followers, probably not in that area, but in and around where Redfield now stands. And you already know that obviously Redfield no longer exists. It's been wiped out. So disappointingly, you discover that the chances of potentially finding loyal subjects of hers per se probably no longer exist. And you get the feeling with how Redfield was dealt with that it was a purposeful move on Cass's part. Now with all the other information that's come to light. Strikes seem to be happening at key points across the map to either weaken the realm of men and the realm of Paradym, the material plane, or to thwart your guys' efforts to gain more allies and more information. What you do find out is that Yildri was definitely last seen there in that area, but that was over 100 years ago. that was the last known sighting of her in the north, was just over, not well over, about 110, 115 years, so just over 100 years prior. Apart from that, there's not a whole lot more information. They reckon about 2 to 3 days ride north of Redfield is where the lair is supposed to be.
Alrighty.
But unfortunately, that is all the information that has been written down about Yildri, the Champion of Men, apart from the stuff that you already know, which was that her and Kosis were mates, and there was a betrayal there. She was betrayed by the council with the decision that was made to do what they did, and then they essentially that betrayal in itself was a minor one in relation to the hunting of her species.
How'd you get on, Sadiq? You look like you're reading hard over there.
I found out a bit. Apparently, she likes Redfield, or whatever the fuck that place was called before it got wiped out.
Oh, Redfield's wiped out. Oh, much like Riffin's family.
Yes, looks like that psycho dude had some fun and knocked people out, or the key people out for his comeback to.
Okay, so I guess if we're looking for her, it's just heading north of there, I'm guessing.
Probably. Although there's still got to be around. It's just there's nothing in the books, so they've probably gone underground since then.
Yes, it's probably a safe bet when you're being hunted.
So,
Oh well.
how'd you go? So, you find out what any of these items actually.
That is a mighty good question.
On that subject, we'll get you to roll another intelligence check. Sorry, hit. This time it's a straight roll. There's no advantage on this one because you're not really well versed. You're not really well versed in magical items.
12 this time.
12 this time. So with a 12, what you do discover is the wand that Coram spoke about is potentially a wand of lightning bolts. The bow, which you heard that the Enclave knows about and is potentially looking for, was called the Oath Bow. A rather powerful bow. And the ancient,
I'm relaying this as he speaks.
The ancient gold dragon tooth dagger is the last item that all you can find out is that not sure what they do, but these are the names of those items.
Sweet.
As far as the other items concerned, the carpet that flies, pretty self-explanatory. It's a magic carpet, and you can fly on it. It does. You do find out with that it does have a weight limit, so you'd have to sort of decide what sort of application you could use for it. The rod that is said to resurrect people is indeed a rod of resurrection, a legendary, wondrous item that was thought to have been lost to the ages. Another bow, which was said to have belonged to Apollo, a famous Grecian god, and that's pretty much it. The other items there wasn't a lot of information about. The iron flask, there was a little bit there that it was a flask that did something. It wasn't not quite sure exactly what it did, but it's definitely beneficial. And then there was another dagger or sword that could do cold damage. No name for that one, but that was about it.
Yeah, and so that's what I found out, Sadiq. It's It's a little hit and miss with some of these things, not actually knowing exacts, but I think we've got a fair amount of information there to go on.
Excellent.
So, what's the plan? I guess do we go and find out where the others are?
So, with that, I mean, it's going to take you guys sort of 2 or 3 hours to do your research. In the meantime, the rest of you've gone to the Thieves Guild. You've discovered that they've been completely decimated and have set the fire and now returned back to the city. Your decision was to head back to Coram, I believe, to inform him that the Thieves Guild has been wiped out.
Yep.
So you get back to the gates, and the guard's there, and as you approach, he raises his hand and goes to say halt, and recognizes you pretty much because it's only been a few hours since you were there, a couple of hours, and sort of just opens the gate and lets you guys through. You get to the door and sort of knock on the door, and the butler sort of opens the door, sort of sees it's you, sort of nods and waves you guys through back to that same sitting room. And in there still is Coram. He's looking over some old books and looks like he might even be researching something himself. You return. What is it I can help you with?
Well, as you already know, was a member of the Black Fang. Doesn't look like I am anymore.
Alessandros, you are a member of the Black Fang. You are branded.
No.
So therefore you are.
Not anymore.
You don't just walk away from the Fang.
What if the Fang was no longer there?
What do you mean, no longer there? The Fang is all over. The Fang is all over Paradym. I mean, just.
Okay, then this group here is no longer here.
What do you mean exactly by no longer here?
They got wiped out.
We went into the sewers and they were ripped apart by something not natural.
Damn it! That means he's been here.
Which he...
It'll be the handiwork of Cass, of course, and his minions. He has an undead horde at his control, and with Asmodeus at his side, he has the ability to summon demons and all sorts of foul things from the abyss and from the hells, and he just grows stronger as time goes by. But why wipe out the Fang? That's what I don't understand.
Well, I went there searching for information that you gave us to see if they could possibly tell us more detail.
Well, it seems... Well, if that's the case, it seems that Cass is one step ahead of you, and obviously doesn't want you to have this information. Not easily, anyway. This does change things a little. Not much. I mean, you still have to find these items, and eventually you have to face Cass before you could even consider facing Kosis and the champion, and Asmodeus himself, potentially. But you're still not strong enough even to face Cass at this point. My suggestion would be to, at this stage, either head to the Bastion to seek out the items there, and then to the north to seek out Yildri's lair and potential allies there, to see if she's even there still. When I said no one's seen her in 100 years. We need to find out if she still believes in us and whether we're worth saving. If that's the case, then she's an ally, and we can count on her to aid us in either, as you say, Fiala, bringing Naemaris back, but also defeating Kosis once and for all. I think everyone now finally is in agreement that Kosis must die. He cannot be allowed to live. This will go on forever if he is allowed to live. If he's rebanished back to the hells, he'll just grow stronger, and he will return, and it'll start all over again.
So I'll let the boss dude know that what we've done with the bodies, we've burnt them. Hopefully, none of them resurrect or anything like that. And I'm going to meet up with the others.
And he informs you straight away. While burning the bodies was definitely a good idea, I would imagine that if they were to turn, they would have turned long before you got there. If what you say is what you described to me is true, I believe this was just an outright assassination on Cass's part, very similar to what he did in the island of Beeple and Riffield and other places around Paradym. He seems to be targeting specific groups and just wiping them out. One thing I have found, though, that you may want to pass on to Sadiq and to your friend Het, in the northeast of northeastern part of Gloomy Marsh, in the marshlands above Catton Castle, there is rumored to be a roaming horde of barbarians. Not really barbarians. Goliaths is what they're called. So they're a bit bigger than a barbarian. But it believes that some of the orcs from Beepole may have survived and have joined this clan, and they're now traveling nomadically with the Goliaths. They're essentially raiders. They're not bad people. They generally keep to themselves unless provoked. But a very nomadic tribe. But that's the last time that they were seen, was in the northeast of the Gloomy Marsh. But if you find them, potentially we would have our spearheading army like the Orc clan of Beepole once did, to help delay Kosis in order to help you guys get ready for the incoming battle. But it'll probably take some time to find them, but definitely that's a good place to start. By the way, the leader of the Goliath clan is Kionath Dreambreaker. Seek him out, and hopefully we can gain another potential ally.
All right, thank you for your time.
And go try and meet up with the others.
All right, so you know that they were heading to the Arcanus. By the time you sort of get to the Arcanus, Het and Sadiq, you guys would have been probably just leaving, so you're probably out in the square where you guys had the battle. And you'll see them approach from the direction of Hart's village.
Oh, hey team, we're over here.
I'm gonna run out. Is Sadiq's medallion glowing?
No.
Why would you ask that?
Because I wanted to see if there was evil still in town instead of the sewers.
Yeah,
It's only 30 feet.
Evil still in 30 feet?
There's not the amulet is not glowing. It is dormant.
So, guys, how is your reading adventure?
Extremely productive. I feel like we found a lot of information.
So where did these guys go?
I went and paid a visit to the Black Vein.
Really? And how are they?
Oh, they're all dead. Nothing to worry about.
Allie's been burning to tell you.
Did you three take them all out?
Funny thing, actually, we get down there and yeah, they've been ripped apart. All of them.
Oh, odd.
Some of them were drained of blood as well.
So the spawn and the vampire that attacked us went and saw them first, I guess.
Maybe. Not sure. But they won't be coming back.
Did you find any good loot down there? Anything we could use?
Nah, just, 75 gold?
72 gold, but close enough.
72 gold?
That doesn't really help. Oh well.
So, with that, what are you guys doing? Where are you going to go? By this time, you guys probably looking mid to late afternoon.
I think we need to go.
Head hurts going to go to the guild and start drinking.
Maybe while we're drinking, we should discuss where we're going to first.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, let's head to the guild first, and then maybe get drunk, maybe sleep, maybe rest.
So you head back to the guild house.
Guild house it is.
Get to the guild hall, and Griffin is there. Jeremy's there. There's a few other guild members sort of milling around. And Griffin gives you a nod of recognition and approval. You get the impression from the look on his face that he knows you are now working directly under Coram. And he sort of walks up to you guys and says, "Well, sorry to hear of what happened with Naemaris, but I understand that there is potential to bring her home. I mean, I've known her for a long time, like most of us here in Valonde. We do wish you the best of luck to finding a solution for this problem. But anything the guild can do, you let me know."
One question, Griffin.
Yes, Het. What is it?
Griffin, did you know Riffic? And was he
Yes.
from Redfield?
Wow.
I did know Riffic indeed. He was a sergeant of the guard for a long time. Well, he still is. I don't know if you've heard, but his trial we had yesterday, and he was exonerated. Believed he was under some sort of mind control spell at the time. So now we're just trying to track down the whereabouts of his wife and daughter. They're still missing. We have had no news of what has happened yet. And he sort of does a double take and says, "Wait, what?"
We went and saw Cass, and he killed them. So.
Oh. Yes. Well, I guess
we did. I think someone was meant to write him a note to actually inform him, but
things have been so crazy here. Even if a message had been sent, it probably wouldn't have got through. The messenger service around here has gone to shit since all this things started to happen. We've had demon activity in the city. We've had undead rising from the grave. It's been pretty full on. But I'll make sure that he is told. That's a sad day indeed. The girl was, 13? No. Oh, that's terrible. But anyway, keep up the good work. I believe Coram has you guys off on some adventure trying to find some artifacts or items that may help put Kosis back in its place. As I said, the guild is at your disposal. Anything you need, you just let us know. And he turns and sort of heads back to his office.
Cheers, Griffin, who's not Riffic from Redfield.
Say that 4 times without losing.
Very tricky in this voice.
So with that, you guys take a seat. Jeremy, by now, has gotten used to your particular vices and brings you all what you prefer to drink and eat. And you are now around dinner time anyway, sitting down, having some food, having some drink, and discussing your next plan of action.
So, what's our next plan of action?
Well, we can go after the items, or we can go try to convince the dragon that the bunch of idiots betrayed to try to help us.
That doesn't sound very promising.
Yes, convincing a dragon could be difficult.
I recommend go seeing dragon. That way we can see if that said dragon has information on these items. More information.
Well, apparently she's actually meant to have one or two.
Or
That's
three.
a bonus.
Maybe
If she can release Naemaris from whatever demonic spells over her too, that would be a bonus to have her back in our team.
Well, I think if there's any items close to where we are now, we could probably go get those first.
yeah, we can go stop by the vampire and kill him and get the item that he's got, which I can't remember which one he had.
There's 2 or 3
And then
items
go-
that potentially held
Gold
at the bastion.
dagger and sword.
Yeah, so
Protected by
And I thi-
a large, an unnaturally large carrion crawler.
That would be at the
Marvelous.
Bastion of Ick, which I think is the closest path here, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. By horseback, probably 3 to 4 days. Right?
And I tell the boys that our boss said that there's a roving bandit party of
They're not
what were they?
bandits.
Or
They're
cord.
a nomadic Goliath tribe.
There you go.
That the remaining orcs from Beepole, there has been rumored to be surviving orcs from Beepole village that have joined with the Goliaths, now living nomadically.
Ah, nomadic Goliath, you say?
and where are they?
Was said to be in the northern regions of Gloomy Marsh. So on your map, if we come all the way over here, so you've got
Didn't you read a piece of paper that said something gloomy on it?
Not quite. It was something grim. Anyone know anything about
Grim.
a
It
place
was
called
Grim something.
Grim? Yeah, grim something grim.
So yes,
Yeah.
so you got Howling Mountains there, which is the area you're in at the moment, and then next to that is Riley River region. Gloomy Marsh region is the next region over, and in the northern plains is where the Goliath tribe is said to be, or it's where they were last seen, camped out. But they are nomadic, so they could be travelling. But they generally stick around the base of the mountains and plains areas. They're generally pretty easy to find.
So pop in, kill the vampire, go up, see about the dragon, go across, find out about any survivors from my village, and then go after the next item closer, I guess.
So Hit, while you guys have got the map out and you're sort of milling over the map, roll a perception check for me.
Excellent, I shall do so. Hit perception is amazing with a 4.
Oh dear.
So looking at the map, you're sort of looking over the areas that you're sort of looking at, and yeah, you don't really, nothing sort of stands out to you at this point.
Would I know what he was talking about?
Roll a intelligence check for me.
Nope. 9.
Yeah, no, you think, I've heard of something with Grim in it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Hit's sort of not concentrating on the map as well as he should be, and he says, actually, team and Nari, elf lady girl that I barely know, I must apologize too. I did hit you earlier on in the day when we were fighting those creatures, the new chain spell thingy. I think I hit you, Ali, by accident. Do apologize for that.
Hey, what the fuck was that?
Well, it was something new I was learning. I went to see my lady friend. Well, not lady friend. I guess the person I
The
relate to.
lady friend.
You have a
the
lady
halfling
friend?
girl.
Lady
You're talking
friend?
about Risker.
Bristles?
No, I'm getting confused, Sarah. The steel lady, my deity, the woman I worship, the god, you must say. Anyway, long story short,
Your
she
lady
pointed me in
friend.
the direction of another, like a productive being, a friend of hers who helps other people in need when they ask questions. And he gifted me a few things, and it seems that would be one of the gifts, but I wasn't 100% sure on how to work it, so I do apologize for hitting you with that.
And what's his name?
I actually have not too much of a clue. I'm finding out the little bits myself. I believe she said it was something like, now we did call it, and I've written it down here, the Rattlehead.
The
Rattlehead?
Rattlehead. Can I
Yes.
do a some type of a check to see if I know or
That would
heard?
be a religion check. So anyone who wants to roll a religion check to see if they've heard of a deity called the Rattlehead, be my guest. You would have to be proficient in it to make the... anyone proficient in history?
I'm proficient in history, but not religion.
So yeah, anyone who's proficient in religion could make this check. If you were to make a history check, you'd have to do it at disadvantage, but you could still add your proficiency to it.
15 with disadvantage.
So with a 15, Sadiq, you...
Oh, and that's history.
Yeah. So with your knowledge of histories, you have heard mention of a deity that, again, you're not sure the name, and the name was never sort of given, but it was given names like the Rattler or Rattlehead or something similar, but you can't really recall too much information about what they were or what type of god they were, but you've definitely heard mention of that name before. Was anyone else rolling religion?
Mm-hmm.
Are you proficient in religion?
Mm-mm.
So you can't make the roll.
No.
If you wanted to roll a religious check, you have to be proficient in it to make that roll. Fortunately.
Nope. And it was crap anyway.
Well, then you don't know anything. So yeah, so that's pretty much all you could get from that.
Hit will practice these extra abilities he's learned and try not to do that again. I do apologize. But it is a way to help me with my dealings, I guess.
So this deity just gave them to you with nothing for payment?
Well, I mean, the Steel Lady does not put me wrong. She's a great, good god of justice for all, and she pointed me in that direction. The Rattlehead seems to be the feeling I get from him is see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. He is very straightforward.
Hit roll a wisdom save for me, please.
These are my favorite saves.
Everything's your favorite.
Especially when I roll like this. 7, I'm having a bad run tonight.
Melt that dice down at the end of the episode.
DM'd you, bro.
Yes. Very wise I am.
Chucked you a DM into Dick's
Reading
order.
it now.
So, decisions.
I thought we made a decision. We're gonna go see that vampire, get the items from him, then kill him, go to try to find the dragon or her followers to try to find her or a cat.
Nearest vampire stop first.
So the Bastion of Ek is the next port of call. It will take you about 4 days to get there on horseback. You guys have...
How late in the day is it?
It'd be around dinner time, so 6:30, 7 o'clock. Probably just starting to get dark. Around sunset.
I say we should rest for this evening and start fresh in the morning.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to organise horses and stuff for the travel anyway. So.
Why wait around? I don't understand. Why didn't we just get to the point? Get out and do some good in the world instead of sitting around here drinking booze and talking all the time.
Well, I definitely need to rest to get my spells back in order, so...
I mean, I only need 4 hours.
I need a good night's rest. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll do the rest, organise the fast horses, and then we'll be there on it.
Okay. Yes, well, whatever. Okay, let's just do it.
Sorry, Ed.
It is what it is. If we need to rest, we need to rest.
So who's turning in for the evening?
I can turn in.
We know Alessandro's going to turn in. Bloody lazy shit. Sleeps all the time.
I want my hit points back.
All right. So with that, you finish your meals, you finish your drinks. You decide to all retire for the evening. Inari, you've been given a room to sleep in, which, unbeknownst to you, is Naemaris' old room.
Oh, fantastic.
You don't know this at this stage. You just know it's a room. It's got a busted door. The door's still broken. It's been fixed to a point where it's usable, but you can see where it's been broken.
I'll check this out.
Pretty much all you guys notice that she is directed, like Jeremy directs her to Naemaris' room. If anyone wants to say anything, that's up to you.
I have a good look around my room.
It's just a standard sleeping quarters. There's a single cot-like bed with just a basic mattress on it. It's got clean linen and a somewhat of a pillow. It's not really a pillow. It's just a very basic stuff. A writing desk in one corner. There is a window. You guys are on the second floor. Behind the door, across from the bed, is a small table and a couple of chairs. And there's a little side table with a candle on it.
Make sure you keep her room clean. I mean, that room. Keep that room clean. Don't mess it up.
I look ahead. Okay.
Keep the space as it is. Don't change it.
I don't think it actually had a window either. Because
Sure,
we used it as Ellie's prison room.
No, you're right. My apologies. It did not have a window. It was the only room that didn't have one.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
No, you are right, Sadiq. It does not have a window. But yeah, so it's a windowless room. But yeah, you get the comment from Het. You give him a bit of a sideways look. Anyone else going to say anything?
I'm just gonna look sadly at it, like reminiscing, and walk to my room.
So you all retire for the evening.
I'm just going to be a bit puzzled as I open the door and walk into
The one thing you do notice when you walk into the room is that the right beside the bed, on the little bedside, Jesus,
Bless you.
bedside table thing, there looks to
Dusty,
be
yeah.
a sharpening stone and an oily rag. And you, as a warrior, you're not really dealing with blades, but you know that these are tools used to sharpen axe or.
I have scimitars.
Yeah, but you're not. But you know what they're used for, and you find it strange that these things are still left in the room.
I put them in the cupboard.
So, hit.
Yeah, Hip waits for everyone sort of subsides to their rooms, and then he goes to Fiela's door and knocks on the door.
Come in.
Hello, just...
The door's really squeaky.
Shh, door, shush. Hip just wanted a quick chat.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Come on in and sit down.
Hip takes a seat, and he brings out the symbol of the rattlehead, and he says to Fiela, I don't know, I mean, I mentioned it downstairs about the new, not new deity, but the direction I've been pointed in by the Steel Lady. I just wondered your thoughts.
Yeah, I find it a bit puzzling about that.
It's not a bad thing, in case you wonder. The Steel Lady has never put me crook. Everything she has, in some way or another, asked me to do has been always on the level. And I not only have the ability that I used in the soiree, the fight we had earlier, but I have a few more additions to it. I have had practice on my own a little bit, but I think it will be helpful in things to come.
Well, I find from noticing you that every time you think about things too long, you kind of get sidetracked. So if you just go with your impulse, that you seem to do wonderful.
That's good, because my impulse tells me that what I have now is right. It's the right way to go. It's a good way to aid this crew. The five of us are doing the right thing, getting through, destroying this evil that is taking over these lands.
I'm just worried about what this rattlehead wants exactly. Like, I'm just worried for you.
I appreciate your worry, but please understand, the Steel Lady will not set me in the wrong direction. She always sets me on the straight. If I am in any trouble, she will tell me, and he did not come to me asking me. I went to her and asked her, and she said to me, go to see him. It's a little complicated, I guess, but would you question your deity's direction if they pointed you in a direction? Would you question it? You would not, I believe.
I don't believe in anything, actually, except myself.
Oh, you do not believe in anything?
Well, I kind of just don't have faith in anything. I guess I've never really thought about it. Guys,
Where do you
stop
draw
it!
your power? Where do you draw your power from?
I just feel something within. I've been around for quite a bit, so it's kind of just nature, I suppose.
Nature, eh?
Where do you draw your power from?
Well, it depends. If I play music or write a poem or a story, I draw the power from the energies of those stories and things that happen with the music. But if I'm drawing power from the clerical or healing abilities I have, I draw them from the Steel Lady. She gifts them to me Without her, I did not have them, and without her, I would not have them.
Maybe I need to research the Seal Lady more.
I can help you. I have a book.
On you, or like now?
Yeah. Well, in my backpack, but I can get it for you if you would like.
Okay.
Sweet. I shall give it. I mean, I'm not going to run to the room and get it now, but I'll give it to you tomorrow. You can have a scroll through if you'd like. It's like 180 pages long, and it has a 200-page foreword and a 200-page after mention. And this is for the DM.
Am I getting a brochure?
It's a large book. A very large book.
Well, I appreciate the interest. Thank you.
Oh, I don't expect you to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, go to church. That's not what it's about.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, I am.
You asked. I just thought you could borrow the book and have a read and see for yourself that she wouldn't point you in the wrong direction. Sorry, you're getting the wrong message. I apologize. I shall go. And puts his book in his bag and he heads for the door.
Head.
Dude, she calls you back. Do you turn back?
Yeah, I turn back.
How is your halfling going? You were studying. I noticed that you had mentioned on your summer break that you were
yes.
taking it up.
Has anyone been studying their languages? That's the thing that I have forgotten to ask you guys.
That's a good question. Yes, I have been reading my book every night that my friend the halfling girl gave me, and it was easier when she was teaching me herself.
Roll a d20 hit, please. Just roll straight d20.
17.
Okay, so I think you had something like 6 or 7 hours worth of study left to do before you had to re-roll anyway. So with that statement, you've spent an hour or so every other night, sort of when you've had a chance to read up, and you've picked up the language pretty good, and you are now proficient in halfling.
Wow, thanks. That's great. So I'm doing pretty well with it, it seems. But I like to learn new things all the time. And when we were on the boat and I was spending some time with the young maiden, she was teaching me quite a bit then, and it was easier to learn from her as speaking it as opposed to reading. But I think I have a handle on it.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that she could teach you everything. Do you still talk to her? I mean, not that I don't care, but yeah. Are you still talking to her?
I mean, she's on the boat. The boat lands and they go, and I met her then, and I don't see her. I mean, I don't get. Are you saying, oh, you mean are we seeing it? No. Do you get that impression of me? No, I was just talking. We were learning language. I'm a little embarrassed. I think okay. No, I'll see you later. I'm tired.
So
all right, go with that impulse at night.
And when he says he's embarrassed, I mean, if a Dragonborn could blush, he was definitely blushing. He looked extremely embarrassed that you got the impression that that's what he was up to.
Phil wrings her hands and does the face palm like she screwed it up and just kind of heads to bed.
No problem. Anyone else wanting to do anything before turning in for the evening?
Sleep.
Yeah, well, you always sleep. So. If you cast a facepalm spell. Yes. And can be audibly heard for 600 feet. And everyone knows that something terrible has happened.
Yeah, I cast that cantrip and the booming noise.
Everyone hears that. Dun, dun. Right. Everyone heads off to sleep for the evening. You you all have a reasonably good night's sleep. Het, your sleep's a little restless. You do get your full 8 hours though, but it's sort of on and off and a little restless through the evening. You keep hearing the voice of the Rattlehead sort of over and over, and you start to make a correlation with the way he spoke to the last time you spoke to the Steel Lady, that something's not quite right. Yep. No worries, Baz. You send that message, and that'll be fine.
Cool. Sorry, with the Steel Lady, in my prayer, does she say something to me, or do I just get that feeling?
It's a feeling, like when the last time you spoke to her, and then just with what the Rattlehead said to you in the tent. For some, you just through the night, you just for some reason that you keep replaying it over in your head because of the doubt that you're having, and there was something about the way the Steel Lady spoke to you that evening, and the way that he spoke to you. You're starting to put two and two together. There's a correlation there that something's not quite right with that whole situation.
Okay, cool.
I'm glad we could suck you in, Drax.
Cool. So with that, you all get your evening's rest. Those that had lost max hit points, they are now restored. You are back to full health, full spell slots, and are well rested.
Yahoo!
You wake in the morning relatively early. You know you've got a big day ahead of you. You do need to secure horses, supplies, and everything else to head out on your journey towards the Bastion of Ek to investigate, potentially dispatch another undead creature, and find the whereabouts of some pretty gnarly items. So, breakfast time.
I'm gonna go down and get breakfast.
Yeah, get up, go down, get breakfast.
So you'll have a hearty meal for the morning. Coffee all round. You pack your belongings. Get ready for the day. You've got your decision. The decision's been made where you want to go, what you want to do. So now it's just securing horses and supplies ready for that journey.
I'm going to go to the shop and sell this rapier +1.
Okay. So you head off to the blacksmith. Just for...
yeah, I'll go to the blacksmith and do that and sell him that one. And then on the way back, get rations.
Okay, so we won't do the RP.
Potions.
We won't do the RP for the store because everyone does that.
Can I swap you the rapier plus rapier?
Yeah, if you want to trade with each other, you can.
I asked not you.
Well, then ask him.
Well, you've got a rapier.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you take the rapier when we looted it off the bloody vampire?
I wasn't thinking that day.
Yeah, it seems to be a reoccurring theme with you. I hand over the +1 rapier and take his.
What you doing, Bill?
I'm just going to head into town and grab myself some mistletoe.
Speak up, lady.
I'm going to head into town, grab myself some mistletoe, some spruce, some oak bark, and powdered corn extract.
So you head off to the apothecary, and those items run you, say, 8 gold for the whole lot. For everything you need for the trip. With your sale of items, what items have you got to sell, City?
I think Ellie's actually got the armor, which is studded leather.
Yeah.
So if no one wants that studded leather, I'll sell that so that we're not carrying that around. And I'll sell the rapier. And then I'll get, say, 5 days worth of rations for everyone.
Okay, so with what you sold, we'll probably cover the cost of the rations anyway, so we won't exchange any gold for that. You get enough rations for everyone for the trip, so there'll be essentially 5, let's say 10 days rations for everyone. So everyone add 10 days rations to your inventory. Anything else that the group wants to acquire?
And I'm also going to sell off this crossbow and bolts that I have never used and will
Okay,
never use.
so the crossbow, just a standard crossbow?
Yeah, just a
Yep.
standard light.
So, yeah, we'll go 5 gold for the crossbow and the bolts.
Sold. Alright.
So we still got that stuff of leather, don't we?
Yes.
Well, seeing no one else was going to wear it, I guess I will.
Yep. Well, because you've got, what armor have you got on at the moment? You've just got standard leather.
Yeah.
So yeah, so put swap out your standard leather for studded leather. Should be good there. And then add the rapier +1 to your inventory as well. Just be aware of your packs too, guys. That when you will become encumbered if you carry too much. So remember to sell off stuff that you're not using. Trash, remember to mark off your arrows if you use them. Same with you, Anari.
Yep, I was just thinking I might get some of my arrows imbued with a magical something.
That will take a bit of time to do. What are you specifically looking at?
We are going to be facing the undead, so I'm thinking something that will do some radiant.
And you'd probably be better off with some holy oil or holy water. Something you can dip your arrows into.
I'll find some of that.
We'll go 10 gold for a vial of holy oil, and it'll have for you being like dipping arrow tips in them, 5 applications per vial. Which will only do 1 arrow, like be 5 arrows per 1 vial, and that will do an extra 1d6 damage of radiant damage when you use them.
I'm gonna have to write this down.
Yeah, just put in holy oil plus 1d6 damage to an arrow, but it'll cost you a bonus action to apply the oil to the arrow before you fire it. Third bed, we're just about done. Drax, we're just about done.
Okay, so I'll get. So how many? Sorry, how many? 5 per vial.
5 applications per vial. Yep. And 10 gold per vial.
I will grab 10.
You will grab 3 because that's all they have.
Oh, damn it. I'll grab 3.
So mark 30 gold off. Make a note of the application and how it's used. Anybody else wanting to buy or sell anything quickly before you go to the stables to acquire horses, which you will get through the guild anyway. It's just a matter of picking them up. No?
I am good.
You're good?
You're good. Same.
Good.
It is also good.
Alright, so
good
now that you've supplied yourselves with all the bits and pieces you need, you got a bit of information, you now have a direction, you have more of a direction, you now have an idea of some items that will be definitely beneficial to the party in the battles to come. There will be some battles fought to retrieve these items, but it is all for the greater good.
So I'm gonna go get the horses and all that. When I get back, I'm gonna look ahead and go, do you have the compass?
Of course I have the compass. I would not, especially went out of my way to get it. It was one of the most important things to me. I have the compass.
Have the compass.
Why is it so important to you here?
Well, it's a long story.
Well, not really. The person that had the compass originally stabbed us in the back and left. Luckily, had organized alternative method, alternative way of, finding the way.
Okay.
Well, I guess it wasn't a long story after all. You know, Inari, what are your abilities? What do you do? What do you bring to the party? Tell me.
I am waiting for a message.
You should know your own abilities.
I have some good spells. I'm quite happy in the Underdark and in forests, and I don't like fiends.
Not that you don't like them, it's you have been trained in the art of hunting and killing them. That's what you do.
I do.
So you're very handy. But if you need to go in a certain direction, how do you know the way if you don't carry a compass?
You're an
a
expert
ranger.
tracker.
I'm an expert tracker.
I've told you all this. You're supposed to write all this shit down.
I did, but I can't find the page I put it on.
Do you have a compass?
In my head.
Okay, so you take a knock to the head. Now where do you fly north?
I just smile sweetly and say, it's okay, Hit. I think your compass is a great piece of equipment.
It's good. Head drops back away from Inari.
So you guys head towards the stables. You get your steeds. You get saddled. You get yourself settled in the saddles, and you head out. By this time, it's probably about 10 a.m. It's a bright, sunny day. Not very many clouds in the sky. Give me a quick marching order, if you please.
I'll be out front.
Who's out front? So Sadiq out front. Who is after Sadiq?
I'll take up the
Head
rear.
up beside Fiala.
I'll take up the rear.
The Sadiq will go Inari, then Fiala, Hit, and
I was going to say, I probably need help tracking, so
yeah,
I'll
you'll
start
be up.
front.
You'll be up the front with
Yep.
Sadiq. So Hit and then Ali. So you head out for the first part of the day. I'd say it's a pretty good day. You keep to the main road to begin with, knowing where you've got to go. There is a main road heading in that general direction. Come over to the map here. So you leave the city of Valonde, and there's a main road that kind of follows the coastline a little bit before it heads into a bit of a forested area. So you spend the best part of the first day traveling along the coast, heading towards the Howling Mountains forest range. It's a different direction that you've taken before. It's the same forest, but you've headed more on the opposite coast up towards Gatton. The first time you came up this way. This time the sea is on your left-hand side. There's you're close enough to the coast, you can hear seagulls and things like that in the air. All manner of animals and that sort of can be heard. Not many travellers on this road. You get the feeling that this road is generally not a road that's very well travelled. It's a little overgrown in places. But you can travel reasonably unhindered. So first 3 or 4 hours, nothing much happens. Again, it's just the sound of the wind in the trees and the birds and things like that. Can I get everyone to make a general perception check, please?
Do I
Did you
see
say we're
any?
in the forest? Sorry.
Do you see any what? Sorry.
Do I see any mushrooms?
See any mushrooms? Make an investigation check.
Who said that? I heard it at the FFS here.
That was Sadiq. So everyone make a general
17.
perception. Fiala make an investigation check as well. So 17 for your investigation.
Yeah, that was my first roll. And then a 19 for the second.
Okay. So as you guys are traveling, yeah, this is kind of a familiar thing for you, and it's kind of weird that Naemaris isn't there, and you just get this overwhelming urge to look for mushrooms, and you look around, and you see a couple of different types of mushrooms. You got your standard big flat wild mushroom that you normally get on most farms and most wetlands, and you see a few toadstools as well, but you do along the side of the road do happen to see a patch of mushrooms here and there. With your guys' perception check, you do notice that the further you sort of get towards the Howling Mountains forest, the road becomes more and more overgrown. So it's definitely not been travelled for quite some time. So it's not a well-travelled road at all. So merchants don't come this way. You all kind of get a little bit of an eerie feeling, but it's just more on your guard than usual because you know where you're going, you know what you're about to do.
23.
Can't hear you.
Did I roll a 23 for that one?
Yeah, well, it sounds like everyone rolled pretty high, so
14.
yeah, anything over a 10 would have done it. It's pretty obvious to see that the road's fairly overgrown. And with that, I think we'll probably call it there before we do anything else, and we'll pick up there next week. Traveling on the road to the Bastion of Ek to find out about a potential vampire and some potential new shinies, and we'll go from there. So thank you, chat, for hanging out with us this evening. Another awesome show from the crew. Lots of awesome RP. Again, cheers, guys. XP tonight. We will roll a d20. Woo. Times that by... What are we going to times that by? Times that by this much. And we'll make it 1300 XP for the evening. Ooh, shinies. But chat, you guys were awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the new follow. And everyone that hung out with us again. So brand new overlay. I think it looks pretty cool. I really want to show you guys the battle map overlay, but I don't want to show you the battle map that I pre-prepared. So you'll have to wait till next week for that.
You put it in Discord, didn't you?
I had the overlay up. I can show you the overlay, but essentially what the overlay is, it's the same thing. It's just got you guys' character portraits at the top with the Discord overlay over on each character portrait. So it makes it a little bit clearer who's speaking and things like that, even for the battle map. So that's pretty much the only change we made there. But as I say, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thanks for coming. Nobody died. No one got too angry-ish.
I was a bit worried at the start there, I have to say.
It was all good. I think it all turned out pretty well. You guys got a whole bunch of information, which is really cool. Pertinent information to the story, which is leading you in a particular direction, which is cool.
Oh, you upped League Day.
Yes, I did. I upped it
Bastard.
all. But anywho, we will call it there. We'll see you again on Monday for some gaming. And next Sunday for more D&D. So if you do enjoy gaming as well, you want to come and hang out with us while we game, we do. This week's all PUBG. So those of you that have PUBG want to come and join me, we'll get some practice in tomorrow before we get started for tomorrow night. So PUBG all week, duo squads, whatever it takes. Probably won't do any solos. So if no one can play on a particular night, we may change the game because I think solo queues are just far too long. Or I might do random squads. The thing will be hot drops. So there will be a lot of dying and a lot of funny stuff. So definitely come and hang out for that. And remember, guys, clips. If you find a funny moment, a crucial moment in either the D&D or in the gaming, hit that clip button. Mods and VIPs and everyone else, you can post those links when you clip something up. You can post the link in the chat. Also post it in the Discord under the clips and VODs. And as always, the VOD for this show will be available on YouTube probably by Monday night. So if you did miss it and you want to watch it again, you can either come back and watch the VOD here or pick it up on the YouTube. So without any more delay, we're going to say thanks very much and goodbye, and we'll see you again tomorrow.